Iconic collaboration. Jungkook and Rosalia officially become Calvin Klein ambassadors. The fashion industry thrives on bold partnerships, powerful statements, and iconic imagery that transcends borders. In a monumental moment that blends the worlds of music, culture, and couture, Calvin Klein has officially announced Jungkook of BTS and Spanish sensation Rosalia as its newest global ambassadors. The decision is not only groundbreaking but also emblematic of the brand's continuous effort to remain at the forefront of global fashion by tapping into two of the most influential artists of this generation. That a historic fashion announcement when Calvin Klein unveiled its latest campaign. The internet nearly broke under the weight of excitement. Fans of both Jungkook and Rosalia flooded social media platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok with hashtags celebrating the collaboration. For Calvin Klein, the strategic move of bringing together two of the world's biggest music icons in one campaign proved to be both visionary and culturally resonant. It was not simply an advertisement. It was the birth of a global conversation. The campaign photos were breathtaking in their simplicity, yet charged with intensity. Jungkook, known for his sculpted physique, youthful charisma, and effortless stage presence, embodied the minimalist sensuality Calvin Klein has long championed. Rosalia, with her bold flamenco roots fused with experimental pop, brought fierce energy, femininity, and cultural richness to the frame. Together, they created imagery that was magnetic, timeless, and powerful enough to redefine fashion ambassadorship in the 21st century. Jungkook. From K-pop idol to global fashion icon, the selection of Jungkook as an ambassador is far from surprising. As a member of BTS, arguably the most influential music group of the 21st century, Jungkook commands an unparalleled global fan base. With millions of devoted armies following his every move, Jungkook's influence extends well beyond the music world. Over the years, he has become a symbol of dedication, talent, and global unity. For Calvin Klein, partnering with Jungkook represents an opportunity to capture the loyalty of a generation that sees him not only as an artist, but as an icon of aspiration. That Jungkook's appeal lies in his duality. He can appear as both the boy next door and the untouchable superstar. His Calvin Klein campaign captured this essence flawlessly. In one frame, he exuded vulnerability and intimacy, his toned physique softened by expressive eyes that seemed to speak directly to the viewer. In another, he radiated raw confidence, with tattoos and defined lines of muscle highlighted by the brand's classic monochrome style. This duality mirrors Calvin Klein's long-standing ethos: simplicity with depth, minimalism with edge. Rosalia, the voice of modern flamenco, meets global fashion. Rosalia's inclusion as Calvin Klein's ambassador signifies the brand's recognition of cultural diversity and global artistry. Known for reinventing flamenco by merging it with reggaeton, trap, and pop, Rosalia represents the spirit of innovation. She is unapologetically bold, culturally rooted, yet globally accessible. Her voice carries tradition. Her style screams modernity. For Calvin Klein, she brings an energy that resonates with a multicultural, boundary-defying generation. The campaign's imagery highlighted Rosalia's magnetic presence. Dressed in Calvin Klein's iconic bralettes and minimal silhouettes, she radiated strength, independence, and sensuality. Her expressions conveyed not just beauty but also power. By including Rosalia, Calvin Klein positioned itself as a brand that values artistic authenticity as much as physical aesthetics. She is not just a face of fashion. She is a force of cultural evolution. The power of dual ambassadors. By choosing Jungkook and Rosalia together, Calvin Klein created a synergy that transcends individual celebrity. The pairing was deliberate. East meets West, K-pop meets flamenco, Korea meets Spain. Both artists embody the spirit of globalization, where cultural exchange enriches artistry, fashion, and identity. Their collaboration in this campaign is not just about modeling clothes. It is about modeling a new cultural reality. The images of the two stars together became instant icons. Jungkook's quiet intensity balanced Rosalia's bold confidence. The result was a campaign that spoke across languages, geographies, and cultural boundaries. For fans, seeing their idols unite under one brand was an unforgettable experience. For the fashion industry, it marked a shift toward recognizing the power of music-driven ambassadorships. a cultural phenomenon on social media within hours of the campaign's release. Hashtags like hashtag Jungkook Calvin Klein and hashtag Rosalia Calvin Klein trended worldwide. Millions of tweets, edits, fan art, and TikTok videos celebrated the collaboration. The campaign was dissected, admired, and reinterpreted by fans who saw it as more than a photo shoot. It was a cultural milestone. Calvin Klein's gamble had paid off in the currency of the digital age, viral influence. Experts noted how this campaign capitalized on the intersection of fandom culture and fashion marketing. BTS fans, ARMY, and Rosalia's dedicated followers amplified the brand's message across every platform, turning the campaign into a global event rather than a simple advertisement. Analysts predicted that Calvin Klein sales would soar in key demographics, particularly among Gen Z and millennials who value authenticity and inclusivity in branding. Fashion as storytelling. Calvin Klein has always been known for using fashion as a form of storytelling. In the past, campaigns with Kate Moss, Mark Wahlberg, and other celebrities pushed boundaries and defined eras. The Jungkook Rosalia collaboration continues this tradition, but with a distinctly modern twist. Rather than simply selling underwear or suits, the campaign sells an idea that cultural diversity, artistic authenticity, and youthful boldness are the cornerstones of contemporary fashion. The minimalist black and white visuals are a nod to Calvin Klein's heritage, while the inclusion of tattoos, experimental poses, and dynamic chemistry between the stars highlights the brand's evolution. It is not nostalgia that drives this campaign, but a forward-looking vision of what fashion can mean in a rapidly globalizing world. The business of ambassadorship in fashion is more than just celebrity endorsements. It is about embodying the brand's identity. By appointing Jungkook and Rosalia, Calvin Klein is not only tapping into their massive fan bases, but also aligning itself with the values they represent: passion, authenticity, cultural pride, and artistic daring. Business analysts suggest that this campaign will significantly boost Calvin Klein's market share in Asia, Europe, and the Americas. Jungkook's presence guarantees dominance in Korea, Japan, and Southeast Asia, while Rosalia secures influence in Spain, Latin America, and Western markets. Together, they make Calvin Klein a truly global brand, united under the faces of two musical revolutionaries. Fan reactions. More than just excitement for fans, the announcement was not just exciting, it was deeply personal. Many saw Jungkook's appointment as recognition of the global impact of BTS and K-pop at large. Others viewed Rosalia's inclusion as validation of flamenco and Spanish artistry on the international stage. Together, they represented the acknowledgement that music and culture from outside traditional Western strongholds could dominate global narratives. Fan accounts flooded with emotional posts. Some cried tears of joy. Others made elaborate fan edits combining campaign shots with concert footage. ARMYs shared how proud they felt seeing Jungkook evolve from a teenager on stage in Seoul to a global fashion ambassador. Rosalia's fans spoke of how seeing her in Calvin Klein represented not just her success, but the rise of Spanish and Latin voices in mainstream global culture. Conclusion: an era-defining collaboration. The appointment of Jungkook and Rosalia as Calvin Klein ambassadors is more than a branding strategy. It is a cultural event. It is the convergence of music, fashion, and identity in a moment that reflects the realities of a globalized generation. For Calvin Klein, the collaboration secures its legacy as a brand unafraid to embrace change, diversity, and bold artistry. For Jungkook and Rosalia, it marks yet another milestone in careers that continue to redefine what it means to be an artist in the modern world. Their partnership reminds us that fashion is more than fabric. It is a language, a story, and a bridge between cultures. And in this story, Jungkook and Rosalia are not just ambassadors for Calvin Klein. They are ambassadors for a new global generation.